I'm Joanna. Welcome to my channel. This is my 12th video. Today I'm going to review 4 books, 3 fiction, 1 nonfiction. Let's get started. The first book is Nesting by Roisin O'Donnell. In this novel, the main character is Kira, and Kira is a woman who finds herself in a marriage that's emotionally abusive. So she finally gathers the courage to take her 2 small children, one in diapers, and leave her husband. Another caveat to this is that she is pregnant as she decides to do this. So we follow Kira through this hardship journey, and along the way she receives acts of kindness from strangers. Although small, they're not insignificant. And I thought, good, I often see people who are needy, or I don't think about things much beyond my little world. And so at least this opened up my eyes a bit, and I thought, if I should ever find somebody or see somebody who's pretty needy, or I find myself in that situation, I'm hoping I can offer some small acts of kindness. But throughout the book, I was anxious for Kira. I was hoping that through her arduous struggles that she does find shelter quickly. I was on the ride. Her main stumbling block is the voice in her head. Her husband's voice is extremely loud, and she is unable to turn that off. And so not only does she hear him constantly, she suffers from guilt syndrome. So I was constantly concerned that Kira would return to her husband because she could not see the obvious. These scenarios are not uncommon in our world. I think most of us know that, but we apparently have to go through struggles in life, and hopefully we come out stronger on the other side. This book is frustrating, depressing, but it is our reality once again, but it has a good ending, and so I give this book a 3.5. Book number 2, The Stolen Queen by Fiona Davis. This is a historical fiction novel, and the setting is in Egypt in 1936, and it jumps back and forth from the current present day, their present day, 1978, New York. The main character is Charlotte Cross. She is a 60-year-old woman, and she had experienced a tragedy in Egypt back in 1936, and this is what follows her throughout the novel. She currently works as a curator in Egyptian art at the Met Museum in New York. Then there is Annie, a 19-year-old, and she lands a job with Diana Verline, I believe. Just think Anna Winters. That is where Charlotte and Annie meet and eventually become friends and they team up together to search for a stolen artifact, an Egyptian one, necklace actually. So there is more than one mystery here, and there are many secrets. This author's research is impeccable. Her descriptions of ancient Egypt, the way she describes the apothecary, the female pharaoh, is authentic. And the history is vivid and entertaining as she brings it to life in our present day. I've never been to the Met Museum, but after reading this novel, I imagine the various cultures that the artifacts live in. I even imagine the building itself. I imagine the tunnels, the cryptic rooms, and a visit to the Met Museum is on my bucket list. I enjoyed this novel. I think you will too. I give it a 4.5. Book number 3, Isola by Allegra Goodman. This is a historical novel. The main character is Marguerite. Marguerite is actually a real person, so the novel comes from a true story. So Marguerite encounters so many hardships and seemingly unbearable challenges, mainly because she's a woman living in the 15th century. So she's enduring a male-dominant society. And, you know, in those days, I believe animals had more rights than women. It's really astounding to me when I think about it, how we allow society to convince us that being born male or female or a particular race affects our humanness. And we know it doesn't. Marguerite is a woman of noble rank. She has property, she has assets, but because she's a woman, the control is transferred onto her male cousin. And he is in control of everything, right? And if he chooses to give her means to live on, that's his choice. She has no say in it. And so eventually the cousin sends her off to live in a freezing place somewhere in Canada, and she is left there to exist or to die. But what we find is Marguerite is a tenacious woman. She is a survivor, and she's brilliant. I was cheering her on through the entire novel. I really loved the ending. I give this book a 5-star. Book number 4, my nonfiction book. I have a copy. The Gift of Years by Sister Joan Chittister. This woman is amazing. She has written over 60 books or so. She's an inspiration, a spiritual figure. She studies and studies and studies and has so much wisdom to share. In this particular book, The Gift of Years, she talks about, where we are in our older years and how we want to live them out. So regret is a topic. Transformation, joy. She talks about, there's so many topics in here that she touches on that we choose. We choose how, she actually gives us alternatives so that we can, look through life in a different lens. We don't want to spend our years, our older years, depressed. We don't want to have all these regrets, and she does give us alternatives. This is great for parents, for grandparents, even for the young, because it just gives you insight and, again, an alter way of thinking. Because we're human, we fall into depressions. This is really an uplifter. Sister Joan Chittister, 5-star. I'll be back next week with 4 more books.